Recording in progress. That's how you know it's good to go.
Right?
Yeah.
For sure.
How's it going?
Oh, you know, chilling like a villain.
Everyone is the villain in their own story.
This is true.
Listen, every once in a while, a villain will make a good point.
You know, all I'm saying is those Disney making these villain stories, it's kind of interesting.
Like Thanos wants to wipe out half the population because of overpopulation. It's like, ooh, that makes sense.
Right? The only one I can't get behind is Cinderella is Cruella de Vil. Nope.
Yeah, yeah.
Nope.
Also, Agent Smith in The Matrix said that human beings are a disease. They're a cancer on this planet. What was it? He said like human beings like are like they're like a virus because they go to an area, bleed it dry, and then go to another area and do the same thing.
Okay, he's not wrong there. We
I
never
mean,
learn our lesson. Like we just we're like, oh, this isn't working here. Let's go over here, but we do the same shit.
right. And now New York City is like a literal garbage dump.
But that's the thing. It's like, and it's happening with other cities too, like Nashville. Like New York City became popular, and like you said, it's become like a dump.
Right.
And look at LA.
Oh boy.
And then like,
Hold up, I'm living in LA.
well, like I'm talking about like downtown LA.
Yeah.
And then like them they keep going to like these smaller cities that aren't built up as much and building them up in the same exact way, and then but it's like you're just turning them to garbage dumps.
Right.
That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
But I digress.
You do? Oh boy. I saw a small human.
It was a small human. My niece had to just come and say goodbye.
Has to.
Has to.
Right.
They can't not leave without saying goodbye, which is kind of cute.
Right. It's adorable. Can you agree that just kids are just so pure?
They are.
Like I still remember, oh my gosh, when I was student teaching, it was like a 3 or 4 month period. So I got to see the kids like 5 days a week for 4 months. And
Aww.
yeah, the last day they were saying bye, and one of the little girls was crying because I was leaving.
Aww.
And we were out, and I think I talked about this before, but yeah, we were outside at recess before the end of the day, and like everyone was out playing, and it was cool. And I was like hanging out with some of the kids, and it was awesome. And then we came in, and the kids started to like pack up and get their stuff to leave. And I see the teacher being like, "Hey, David, can you come here for a minute?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And she has her arm around that girl, and she's like, and the girl's crying, and I'm like, in my mind, like I was kind of stupid for thinking this, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, did something happen on the playground? Did someone say something mean, or did someone push her or whatever?
Yeah.
And the teacher was like, "Here, can you give Sophia a hug? Because she's upset that she's saying goodbye to you." And I'm like, come on. Like, how does that not just murder your heart?
Literally, that's just
Like,
it's like
a 9-year-old kid is crying because you're leaving, and come on.
it's like the sweetest but saddest thing ever.
Right. And I'm like, and I had to walk. So the kids that get picked up by their parents like go down to the gym to wait for their parents. And like I walked down with her to the gym, and I'm like, "I'm gonna come back and visit, okay?" And she kind of sniffles, and she's like, okay. And I'm like, no, don't you do this to me.
Oh.
And then I did come back and visit, and it was cool to see the class. And then the next school year, they were in fourth grade. I came a couple times to sub, and you could see that girl through the window. Just, it's like she's meeting a celebrity. She got so excited. She's like, oh, and then she came in and like she didn't give two shits about anyone else. She like came in and like for a hug, and I'm like, dude, come on. This is like
I love it.
this is like the best thing ever.
It literally is the best thing ever.
You see other kids like trying to keep it together. They're like, hey, what's up, Mr. Drake? And you can tell they're obviously like so excited. I'm like, this is too pure for this world.
That's the thing. It's like they are just not as unconditional as dogs are,
Right.
but like
They're close.
it's close.
Right.
Like all you gotta do is just love them, and that's it, man.
Yeah. On the other end, it's like it's crazy because at school at Eastern Michigan, I had one of my professors tell the class, this was like a teaching specific class, and like she had to like literally warn us that like literally all of you as teachers, especially the guys, like don't like even side hug the kids. Like if you have to hug them, like side hug them, because so many parents these days, well, society nowadays, like is so suspicious of people, right? So like you cannot put yourself in a situation that might look sketchy. And it's like, dude, 30 years ago, people were beating kids with sticks. And now it's like I can't even side hug a kid.
Right?
And it's like, first of all, you guys did the background check. I'm clean. Come on.
Well, and like, I mean, it takes like the humanness out of it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like, I can't, like, say there was a crying kid, like, I can't make him feel better.
I know.
Like, apparently, it's just like, apparently you can't because, David, you have the appetites.
Well, and that's why I was surprised that the teacher was like, "Can you give her a hug?"
Yeah, well, at that point, like, even as teachers, like, fine with, like, hugs and stuff, and she's hugged the kids before, so, like, it's one of those things, like, she was like, yeah, just, whatever, like, this is a crying kid, like, freaking hug the kid, right?
Right. Right.
But I get it because like if like we've said before, like if you got the appetites for kids, like you're the worst person in the world.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah, I remember one of the other kids in the class, like I won't say the name obviously, but I guess when she was even younger than a third grader, I guess like her ex-dad, like I guess basically touched her, like in not a good way. And I don't know if this was a time like before she could remember, because like and this was like the sweetest girl you'll ever meet in your life. So like, she was so like funny and sweet, and
God.
she always talked about like how she loves pugs. It was hilarious. And like when the teacher, obviously she kind of told me this aside, like the situation, because it's this stuff that you like as a teacher you should kind of know.
Hmm.
But yeah, it made me want to kill this guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think like we've talked about before, I think that's why in prisons, like they're low. Like child molesters are like low on the totem pole.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. I actually saw it was an episode of Bones, and it's like this couple. One of them deals with actual bones, like human remains, and tries to find out the cause of death. And the guy, he's like I don't know if he's like FBI or CIA, something like that. And he like deals with like the crime portion of the situation. And they kind of work together to figure out all this, you know. And I remember one of the episodes was about this kid whose dad like basically did that, like he was a child molester and he did that to like his daughter. And this was like, you know, a 10, 11-year-old kid. And the episode's just like so heartbreaking because like this kid is so shut off and like just refuses to talk, is so hesitant like to say anything to anyone, even the cops, you know. And then
Mm-hmm.
in the end, when you know this guy is caught and the girl knows that she's safe, she like kind of in a sense breaks down and cries and stuff. And it's like, dude, that's how is that not the most like heartbreaking thing, you know?
I know. Oh, it's so because they're so like defenseless too.
Yeah, right. Like, how is 10-year-old kid going to compete against a strong father, right?
Exactly. It's
Like, give the kid a gun.
but you just like how you can't like it's awful.
Yeah, like you said, like they're so far down on the totem pole in prisons, you know, and rightfully so.
As they should be.
Yeah,
That is the only thing I will agree with prisons is that child
right.
molesters are
Yeah. Like if you murdered someone, that's fine. But if you touched a kid,
listen, they got one thing morally right.
yeah. And that's what makes me mad because it's like, you know, these days, like freaking no adult can be trusted with a kid, apparently. And it's like, dude, do a quick 5-minute background check on me. I'm good. But
Well,
I I remember when I made that movie a few years back, um, you know, I had casted a couple kids, a couple girls as sisters in the movie. And they were like, I think like 9 and 11 years old, something like that. And
mm-hmm.
it was cool to work with them and the rest of the cast. And at the very end, like we kind of the cast kind of all went out to dinner and hung out after the movie was done. And it was so cute. The girls had made notes saying thank you for this
Aw.
experience, and it was cute. And then the parents wanted to take pictures with me and the kids, and it's one of those things like I kind of felt guilty putting my arms around it because it's like I don't want it to come off as like, you know,
Yeah,
bad, you know. So
yeah.
it's like I didn't even like put my hand around him. It's like my hand, like say the person is here, like my hand was kind of like out. So it's like, hey guys, look, like
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
even I'm not even putting my hand on their shoulders because it's like I don't want this to come off as like sketchy, which again is like so stupid. It's like clearly this is not that kind of situation, right?
But that's like unfortunately the things that like society is like, especially men have to think
Oh yeah,
about.
yeah, especially kids. But it's like, dude, what percentage of adults do that to kids? Like it's such a small percentage. Like how can you just question all men, right?
Well, even I mean, even if you look at like just sexual assault cases, like it's not every man, it's not every like a large enough percentage for you to question every single man.
Right. And also a lot of women commit sexual assault,
Johnny Depp,
right?
Amber Heard.
Right. Have you heard?
I'm just saying Amber Heard is.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew someone in
It
high
does.
school. I knew someone who cheated on her boyfriend in high school, and it's like, yeah, guess what? Women do that too.
That's what I always found funny is like it's like when women are like, and men were sexualizing us. It's like, and we women don't do that.
Right.
Come on.
Come on. It's like going off that too. It's like I heard this speech of a guy who said, like, of course, if you're sexually assaulted, it is not your fault. Like that guy is clearly at fault. However,
Oh, 100%.
however, you are also responsible for putting yourself in that situation. Like if you're gonna walk down a crime-ridden street waving $100 bills above your head, like if somebody robs you, that's their fault. But at the same time, you put yourself in that situation. Whereas, like if you're at a party drinking with drunk guys who, and you're wearing like an outfit that shows a lot of cleavage, it's like, no, if a guy hits on you, it's his fault, but also you should have recognized a bad situation, right?
Kind of. Yeah. Like, I think you're right. Like, you don't put yourself in a bad situation that allows for that opportunity where
Right,
like you lose control of the situation.
right,
Because you do have a little bit of control of the situation in the very
right,
beginning, and it's easy to lose it. So, I, but yeah, I mean, that's a tough one because you never want to say it's a victim's fault, but like,
right,
also, if you put yourself in sometimes smarter situations,
right.
it won't happen.
Yeah, like if you're gonna go to a party where that kind of stuff happens with a bunch of guys that you don't know, it's like, you know, like if you're at your place with guys that you know and trust, like that's a safe situation, right?
And something happens, then that's definitely like,
Yeah. Like how could you have known?
I think so. To me, it's about being smart. So, like, if you're going to go to a party and you might, uh, like, let's just say for some, a guy invited you to this party and you're not going to know a lot of people. Like, you don't go on your own. You bring
Right.
a friend.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's being smart about it. Like you're not just like, oh, this guy asked me on a date. I'm gonna go to the party by myself. No, you don't know anyone. Bring someone.
Right. Bring someone to spot you.
Like bring a friend, someone you know, and like just be. It's. I mean, and I know like a lot of the really like hardcore feminists are like women shouldn't even have to think that way, but like,
Or like
okay,
also it's like if you go to a bar and accept a drink from a stranger, an open drink from a stranger, and then you're roofied, and it's like, okay, but you accepted a drink from a random guy and it was an open drink, a drink that he could have put something in it. Like, come on.
that's using our common sense.
Some people don't have that. And then they're like, well, I was raped. And it's like, okay, that's obviously not a good situation, but like, what did,
No, it's clearly awful and not your fault, but like you it doesn't negate the fact that you shouldn't have taken an open drink
right?
from someone.
Like,
Like,
get a closed beer from the bartender.
I mean, so if I'm at a party where I don't know a lot of the people. Like,
Yeah.
if I put my drink down and I don't see like if someone took it, or I can't like 100% say like it hasn't been touched, I just go get another one.
Yeah, right.
And I if someone gives me a drink that I don't know, I'm not like, okay.
Yeah. Or it's like if a guy is like, oh, can I buy you a drink? It's like, yeah, but have the bartender get me a closed beer. There are ways to go about it.
Exactly. I mean, like, listen, this shit happens and it sucks and it's sad. But like, just be smart about it.
Right. I'm just wondering how we got on this topic.
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh no, it's because your cousin came in here.
Oh, kids. And then we went to,
Kids.
oh, yeah, that's so funny.
Oh, wow.
But not our topic for the podcast today.
Apparently it was. Talking about murderers and molesters.
Listen,
Hi friends, welcome to the channel.
lighthearted.
Totally great.
Just a little lightheartedness for today.
Right.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
All good. Anyway, conspiracy theories.
Yes. I hate to admit it, but I love a good conspiracy theory.
I do. The problem is like 99.9% of them I don't believe in and they're crazy. But then there's that point, then there's that 0.01% that's like, okay, you might be onto something.
See, I like the conspiracy theories of like Princess Diana and Kurt Cobain. Like then I'm like, all right, I'm on to you.
Right, yeah. So I'll start off with probably one of the only ones that I agree with, and that is aliens. Because there are a lot of people that are like, okay, so also a side note, it's one of those things where it's like we're either completely alone in the universe, which is terrifying, or we're not alone in the universe, and that's like equally terrifying, right?
I'd rather be alone.
I would rather have aliens because I just want to know what they look like.
I mean, fair enough.
But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
I agree with that in that I think that there are aliens out there. And I think the government is definitely trying to hide up Area 51. Absolutely.
I mean, hasn't that basically been proven to the point where it's like not even a conspiracy theory anymore? It's just straight
Right.
fact.
It's probably why I believe it, because it's straight up facts now. But I don't care about knowing whether they're good or bad or their intentions. I just want to see what they look like. Like that'd just be cool. Like, do they look like what people have guessed? Or is it something completely random? And also, if they came to Earth, you know, like why?
You have to wonder.
And also, like, do they have names? Like, is there a Keith out there? Is there a guy that like he likes Keith Urban's music? So I'm like, all right, I'm Keith.
Do they know about like, see, or do they have like weird names like Xenon?
Right. Or
Like,
do or do they have names in a language that we don't even know about?
see, this is probably,
Because like they can't speak English, right?
I would assume no.
Or is it possible that they could learn the language?
Mm. Do, 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 do.
Right. Yeah, man.
I mean, I would have to imagine that And I don't know if that's because this is how like all the TV shows and like movies portray them, but I would have to imagine they're pretty smart
Oh, they have to be, right?
and that they could learn English.
Yeah. I mean, they might have already studied us and they could have already learned. They
Ex-
could just they could just be
exactly.
they could just be perfecting the language before they reveal themselves.
But it also makes you wonder is what is the government hiding?
Right? And why are they hiding it?
Like, are aliens like just have we been so close to aliens and we just don't know it?
That's possible. I had a thought a couple minutes ago that can add to the conspiracy theory. So obviously, the vast majority of our oceans, we haven't discovered it, right? So what if the aliens made contact to Earth and they're deep, deep underwater, and they either could breathe underwater or they made like a little underwater community like Atlantis, basically.
Interesting.
Because, like scientists have said, most of the ocean hasn't been discovered. So not only could
Interesting.
Atlantis be down there, but aliens could be down there.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. For real.
I'm just thinking because there's probably a species of aliens that does live underwater.
You never know.
I mean,
What if there are aliens deep underwater and they're the original inhabitants of Earth and we're the aliens? And the reason the majority of the oceans haven't been discovered is because the aliens made it so it was like that. Because they didn't want to be seen by the aliens. Yeah, we're on to something.
literally.
That'd be a
That's
good that'd be a good movie.
I was just thinking one, I was just thinking that. And two, I was literally thinking that that could quite literally be possible.
Right?
Even like with how like what was it? It starts with like a P. What they called like how our earth, like all the land was connected
Oh yeah.
at one point.
Pangea.
Pangea.
Pangea, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like and it's I just think it's possible.
Yeah. Ooh. And so what if the place that we came from, our like dictator or overlord was God? And so many of us still believe in him, but the atheists forgot about it. And
Dude.
his vice president was Jesus.
And oh.
We're also happy to be his kid. And his ex-wife is down in the pictures, so that's why we don't know anything about her.
Mary.
Right. Oh, yeah, there you go. All right,
No,
son,
no, no,
go
no,
get him.
no, 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 no. So here, no. See, now it's all making sense. So, God impregnated Mary. That was his mistress, but he didn't want anyone to know.
Yeah, that's right. They was hooking up in the closet. Hey, Mary, you want to get out of here?
And the or his wife was. So he made up this whole story. She was like,
Right.
his higher power.
His first kids were Adam and Eve. but they messed up because they made the first sins. So after a lot of time, God's like, okay, let's try this again.
I'm telling you, this is exactly what happened.
And then we used up all of that planet's natural resources. So God sent us to another planet, Earth.
This is what happened.
I'm wondering if the government knows that. Are they going to hack this podcast? We're both going to get a text like, hey, quiet down. Enough of that. Enough of that. I will pay you money to shut up. And I'd be like, all right, let's see it.
They're like, oh, you're wrong.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. But don't tell any of the people that listen.
Right? What if some variation of that was actually true? But that'd be wild.
I mean, listen. There's nothing to say that it's not possible.
Right. Like, prove us wrong.
So what for you was like the biggest thing that made you think like, yep, aliens are out there?
First of all, because nobody can really confirm or deny whether they do. So there's that mystery that they could be out there. But like, part of me is just thinking like, this universe is so immensely massive that for me, it's just not possible that us on Earth are the only living beings in an entire universe. Like for me, that's just like, come on, there's other stuff out there.
Well, and I'm sure there's part, like, I'm sure we haven't even touched on like half of the universe.
Oh yeah, not even. And like obviously if you believe in the Christian faith, like you believe like God created the universe and he created human beings, and you know the whole thing goes like he loves us most above all else, but like there's really nothing to say that like he didn't also create other life somewhere else.
Well, exactly. I mean, he didn't just create humans. I mean, look at there. He created fish, he created sharks, he created bears, like.
Or even like think about an organism that somehow got out of Earth's atmosphere and drifted among the universe and settled down on another planet somewhere. Multiplied using, you know, biology. And yeah, the whole evolution thing on another planet.
Exactly.
Dude, that could be one of the unwritten books of the Bible about other life.
Oh, it could.
Right?
Did we just figure out like,
Yeah, man.
the secret?
We did.
I think we did too, man.
It's like Narnia, but with aliens.
So what do you think of crop circles? Like, do you think those are from aliens, or do you think?
No, because enough crop circles have popped up in history to the point where like somebody would have gotten evidence of it somewhere, right?
Oh, of an alien like making them?
Yeah. Or even like if they were so far away that they couldn't be shot on camera, it's like, okay, but the process of making the crop circle, you would still get that, right?
And you would think.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like if it only happened once and you didn't get it, like fine, maybe you were asleep, but like this has happened so much. And you're saying like you never saw it being made and decided to hit record on your phone. Like
Oh,
you're
especially.
like you're able to apparently get videos of Bigfoot, but not this.
All right. So you just think it's people like making them?
Yeah, and then taking pictures of them after they're quote unquote made and been like, oh my gosh, look what happened.
I mean,
Also, let's be honest, satellites would have picked that up too.
Well,
And it's not like they're seeing videos of it being made. It's just a picture of it already made.
unless the government confiscated those.
I mean, maybe. That's also possible.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. I agree. Like, especially in today's, like, with all the technology we have,
Right.
like,
Yeah. And also going off on that tangent, like Bigfoot, like how come the only pictures that are taken are from a camera from the 50s, right? Like take a picture on your iPhone that has 4K quality.
and those Bigfoot sightings are becoming less and less, aren't they?
Right. Like it was all the rage in the 90s, but now with 4K footage, no.
Mm.
Huh.
Bigfoot was one I never really like.
Yeah, no. Or the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, right.
Nessie.
Nessie. Nope.
No, but yeah, Aliens is like, I'm all for it. The only thing that I really want is like, come on, show them to us.
I know.
I just want to see them.
I do. I know. I want to see if they're like how the movie says they are.
Yeah. Have you seen a movie called Arrival?
Mm-mm.
It's really good. It's with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner, and like, there are a couple scientists, and basically these giant alien ships have popped up across the globe, and these guys are trying to figure out like why they're here, basically. And it's actually one of the better alien movies that I've seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I would recommend it.
Okay.
Also, there's another movie I think I recommended before. It's called The Fourth Kind. It kind of um, goes around aliens as well, but
My
that's a
favorite.
that's a little more of a thriller. So
Okay. I'll have to watch those though.
if you want to
My
look,
favorite alien movie is Signs.
that's a good one. Yeah,
I don't know why.
right. I also love when they referenced it in Scary Movie 3. It was hilarious. I loved it.
Uh,
It's so
that one
great,
cracks me up.
right? Just something about Charlie Sheen is great. Also, something about the opening scenes, Scary Movie 4 as well.
I don't think I remember that.
It's the one with Shaq and Dr. Phil.
Oh. Listen. Nothing beats like Scary Movie 1.
That's a good one. I'd say for me it's Scary Movie 4. It does it for me, but Scary Movie 1 is
Okay.
good.
Okay. I don't I think I remember the scene with Shaq and Dr. Phil.
I mean, it was the opening scene.
Yeah, I think I remember that, but
It was hilarious because Jigsaw was like, you have to cut off these chains in 120 seconds or you die.
I do remember that.
And then Dr. Phil cut off his foot, but he cut off the wrong one.
I do remember this. Yes. That yeah. That one was a good one.
Also, the dad in that movie is hilarious.
What? Honestly, I haven't seen those in so long I hardly even remember them.
Yeah. Yeah, he ends up with Anna Faris, who, of course, plays a stupid person.
I listened to her podcast and she talks about scary movies and how she was like, I was in Scary Movie 1, and then they didn't ask me back until the 4th one. Ugh.
I just love it. She has a piece of parchment paper over her eyes and she's like, I'm blind.
Dude, she plays the like dumbest characters.
But she does it so perfectly.
She does. She really does.
Like she belongs in comedy playing a dumb person. And then you have her sassy black friend, which is equally great.
Oh my God.
What is it, Brenda, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do remember that because wasn't Brenda like fighting the girl from The Ring in their living room?
Yeah. She punched it. Yeah, come on, take that. Come on, not so scary now. She blocked her forehead with her hand, just like, come on, come get it. Come on.
I just remember dying at that scene.
Right.
Oh my God.
She's getting water on the floor.
I remember that part. Oh my gosh, like she was just acting so like ghetto and it was great.
Yeah, right. I think every person in the world needs a sassy black friend.
This is true.
If anything, it's just free entertainment. Just watching them be sassy is great. Speaking of that, I think everyone needs to have a conversation with an older black lady because that is the most amazing experience you're ever going to have. Because there's a woman that the CVS by me, and this is a great situation because she was like a middle-aged black lady, and it was my first time going there when I was out here, and she was like, hey baby. I'm like, oh. She was like, hey baby, do you have a CVS card? And I'm like, no, I really don't go to CVS that much. And she's like, oh babe, we're gonna get you hooked up with CVS card. I'm like, it's okay, you know, you don't have to do it right now. I'll just do it next time. And she's like, baby, we're doing this right now. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. Like, I'm not gonna tell you no.
Oh, I love it.
And then I remember the next time I came in and got something and she was there and I got a discount on it. She's like, see, baby, I got you a discount. I'm like, yeah, you did. You can do anything you want, always.
Some of my clients are like, I have like a couple middle-aged, like, black women for clients, and just they're some of my favorite sessions.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's great.
Like, just oh my God.
If a black woman gives you advice, you take it.
Mm-hmm.
100% of the time.
Literally.
It's just literally, you have a middle-aged or older black woman call you baby and tell me you're racist. Like, it's not possible. Or if you have okay, this is another thing on this wild tangent that we're on from aliens.
Right? We went from aliens to middle-aged black women.
We're just full of tangents tonight, I think.
I guess so, man.
But I remember when I was at school at Specs Howard, a big portion of the class is black, and we were able to do a project together. And I went, like, one of the projects that we did was making a short film, and I don't know why, but we went to one of the guys' churches because he plays in the band at the church, and it was one evening when the choir was practicing. And when I tell you that black church is an experience, it is insane and it is amazing because they were singing and it was cool, but we were off doing our film project, and then we got offered to come in and pray with them afterwards. And them praying is so great because the guy is praying and with so much enthusiasm. You're like, thank you, Jesus, for bringing us here today. And you see the people that are praying with him, like, it's not like white church where everyone's quiet. Like, they're vocal. They're like,
Oh, yeah.
like during prayer, the preacher is praying and you hear people being like, yes, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. Like, amen, brother. And I'm like, this is so great. Like, I'm like kind of praying and I'm also like looking around in awe. I'm like, ah, this is so much better than a white church. And that, oh my gosh, when they do a song that's like high enthusiasm, it is high enthusiasm. They are clapping, they're singing, they're thank you, Jesus, thank you. And I'm like, yes, praise Jesus. How
it's like stereotypical, like what you see in movies.
They're not lying at all.
I had a cultural and diversity class in grad school, and the professor was a middle-aged Black man, but he was also a preacher.
Yeah.
So the class was like he was preaching, and it was so funny.
It's great. Dude, I wish it was more normalized that white people could go to Black church, because I would go every single day. I would go. Be like, we're just doing a choir session here on Wednesday night. I'm there.
It sounds like you need to go to some Southern Baptist churches.
I think so.
Because, I mean, see, and that's the thing. Well, but I could get off on a tangent on that. I won't.
Right.
I won't. But maybe if we made our churches a little bit more exciting, people would go.
Yeah.
Something. But anyways, aliens.
Aliens.
So do you think that the aliens look like aliens in the movies?
That's what I also wanted to say, because obviously some movies have the aliens looking different, right? Like the ones in Arrival are different than the ones in Independence Day.
Sure.
So it's like, which one of those, if any of them, are correct? Or do they look like something completely that we've never even thought of? Like, do they even have like human-like skulls or appendages with arms and legs?
Or do they look human?
Right. Do they have eyes, or are they able to see in a different way than we do, you know? Do they even have a sense of smell? Maybe their sense of smell comes from their fingers, you know?
Oh, interesting.
Do they have to eat to survive, or do they not have to? Like maybe they're so advanced.
They need to drink water, and that's why we can't find water on any of these planets, because they don't need it.
Maybe they have advanced so much and evolved so much that they no longer have to. Maybe the resources on their planet got so low that they just evolved to not need food.
This is what do they, I mean, kind of piggyback off of that, but do they even have families?
Right.
Like what is their like social structure even look like?
Like, do they even have genders?
Ooh.
Maybe these liberal people are onto something. There are no genders, man. Well, for the aliens, maybe not. You go, liberal.
I mean,
you go, girl. Sorry, boy. Sorry, they, them.
You go, you.
This is so hilarious. Somebody updated Michael Jackson's status of he's not she, her. Michael Jackson is he. I'm like, yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
Ooh, okay. Different conspiracy theory. Do you think that Michael Jackson fooled around with kids? Or is that a hoax?
Oh,
That's a touchy one. Because you see in interviews, like he so clearly denies it, but it's like, is he telling the truth or is he lying?
well, yeah. I mean, he's not gonna come out and be like,
Hey, I like them kids, man.
"Yes, I did."
Oh my gosh, going off that, I think it was in Scary Movie 4 when Michael Jackson made a cameo and he was trying to lead some kids to safety. And they were like, what the hell are you doing? And it's like, no, I didn't do anything. I swear, she's a girl. I'm like, oh no,
Oh no,
oh no.
no, 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 no.
And he was talking to the kids and he was like, do you have a little brother? And I'm like, oh no.
It's like those TikToks. Oh no, oh no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
It's like, I know I shouldn't laugh, but I'm laughing.
But it's kind of funny.
Why would I go with her? She's a girl. Like, no.
I I think I think some weird shit went on at Neverland Ranch.
Okay. Was that where that happened? Apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I didn't know.
I I I haven't looked too much into it, but I believe it
Yeah.
happened at Neverland Ranch.
Okay. I think for me, I obviously can't say whether or not it happened, but I want to believe that it did not happen because he was just such a great performer and singer. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to believe it because like Thriller, hey.
But I think it has a lot to do, and a lot of it is connected to his childhood.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
because you heard just like crazy stories from his childhood, like the amount that they had to practice for Jackson 5 was just insane.
mhm. Mhm.
Like their dad was like crazy about their career and like forcing them to do those long hours and stuff. Which
Yeah.
then like I'm sure that like messes you up somehow, right?
Well, yeah, and I think his dad um was like abusive too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No. Um I don't know though, but I think that's what I heard.
Okay.
So I think that's why I think I can't say whether or not it did, but I do think some shady shit went down.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think he was really trying to preserve his childhood.
Yeah, probably.
And like it just led to these odd behaviors with
Yeah.
children.
Well, and also freaking becoming white,
Yeah.
which I want to know that mind process. Because if you're gonna get plastic surgery, like fine, I guess I understand that, but he became white.
Well, didn't he have vitiligo?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because if that, I mean, he had nose surgery.
Oh yeah. Like a little too much.
I'm trying to see if he had vitiligo. Because if he had vitiligo, that's why he turned white.
Okay. I mean, I guess that would make sense then. But either way, you have to admit that he was like the greatest performer of all time.
Yeah.
He was great. Like Freddie Mercury can suck it.
Whoa.
Well, okay, hold up.
Whoa.
We're not talking about Billy Joe here.
You said Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
Oh, I get what you're saying. But listen,
Oh yeah.
Freddie is up there for me.
I'll say that Freddie had an amazing stage presence, but Michael Jackson could dance for days. Plus the whole moonwalking thing.
I guess. I'm just not a big, huge Michael Jackson fan.
Okay.
But I will give, like, I will agree. He by far is the greatest entertainer.
Oh yeah. I think I'm trying to remember what song it was of his. Now I want to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, it was "Smooth Criminal" by Michael Jackson. Apparently, one of my mom's preschool students loved that song,
I love that.
and apparently he would always sing that song.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I'm like, that's cool. Just don't, meet the guy as a kid.
Yeah, literally.
Like maybe mom, just don't tell him about that stuff.
Yeah, don't ruin it for him.
Right. Like he loves his Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson loves him. Oof.
I don't want it to be true.
I know. Because like we said, he was the greatest entertainer.
I just don't want it to be true, but I don't know.
Right.
Honestly though, I can't see him. It's hard because I feel like he had such a caring
Yeah.
nature to him
Yeah.
that I can't see him doing it, but it's also like, is that
Right.
part of it?
Like what's he doing behind the closed doors?
Right, right. So I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
That is another conspiracy theory though.
Right.
That
So,
like
so what is one of yours? Because you had one at least.
I could talk about, I have a couple. So the one that I know and I've read into a lot is that Kurt Cobain did not kill himself.
Ooh, I guess I don't know much about that one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't even looking, but so I got this book. I'll tell you the little backstory as to why I know all of this. But I got a book. I got into this like phase when I was in high school where I just like loved Nirvana.
Well, I mean,
And
so many people do.
and I loved Kurt Cobain. And so I got this book. It's called Who Killed Kurt Cobain?
Yeah.
And it's written by these two guys who did an investigation of a private investigator's investigation. And basically, so I don't know how much you know about his death, but like
Yeah, not much.
2 weeks before they found him, he was in rehab.
Okay.
And and I think a week and a half before his death, he left, like he escaped rehab. I mean, he could have just walked out, but
Right.
like he escaped. And so Courtney Love hired an investigator to find him because no one knew where he was.
Courtney Love was not being very loving.
No.
Yeah.
And so she hired this private investigator, and it was him who was the one that was like, something suspicious here. He didn't, about him just killing himself. Like something doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So he had like recorded all of his conversations with Courtney, everything that made him suspicious, and talked to people in the town and like everything. And even like Courtney's behavior, he said there was certain things. So,
Yeah.
which I mean, I can kind of get into, but like, anyway, and then he just said something didn't add up.
Yeah.
And then these two guys were like, I want to go investigate to see if what he's finding like is true, and they basically found out that it was.
Right.
But basically the most he said, well, apparently there's more like solid proof, but he doesn't want to put it out in the public yet, because then if it goes to court, he can't use it or something. I don't know how true that is.
Right.
I don't know if that's just a scam, because like, but anyway, he says that like Courtney was, at first, he usually starts his private investigations with like going to the house and the home.
Yeah.
And Courtney was like, no, go to his drug dealer. It's this woman. I think he's cheating on her with me. Like, go
Yeah.
bug her house. Like, and swear he's there. He's like, I can't bug her house. It's illegal.
Right.
I can stand outside her house, whatever. And then he found out like 2 days later that Kurt had been seen at the house and not at the drug dealers, but Courtney sent him to the drug dealers. And he's like, but if he was seen at the house,
Right.
why am I not going to the house? And it was just like all these little things that were like at really weirdly, like he had more, which this is debatable, but like he had more heroin in his system that like he wouldn't have been able, well, some people say he wouldn't have been able to. Some people say if you build up tolerance, you might be able to.
Right.
But he had the amount of heroin he had in his system when he died.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been able to pick up the shotgun and shoot himself.
Right.
Like he would have literally passed out the minute he shot up.
Right.
And the needle wasn't in his arm.
Right.
Like it was perfectly packaged and perfectly put away in his like little container where he stored it. And like there was a lot of things that were weird. He also has a guy that said, so there was this town drunk.
Okay.
And this is actually an interesting part of the story, but like there's this town drunk and this private investigator had talked to him, and he said Courtney wanted to hire me for $50,000 to shoot Kurt.
You don't say.
And he's like, I didn't do it, but I know who did. And they went and talked to that guy, and he was like, off record, I did, yes. On record, no, blah, blah, blah. And so like they were like, okay, whatever, you know. They talked to him. They weren't sure like if he was just playing with them, you know?
Yeah.
But then they saw him again. The town drunk ironically got killed in a freak accident.
Wow.
And they were talking to that guy who he said did it, and he was like, they're like, oh, you have a new car? Because they noticed he had like this really brand new, like, I think it was the same car Courtney Love had. And the guy's like, yeah, 50,000 gets you a lot.
Right.
And they were like, what? Huh?
Huh?
And like the private investigator also said that Courtney Love he left her backpack at this a lawyer friend of hers and Kurt's, and she had practiced letter writing.
Okay.
So, like she was tracing like A's and like C's and this and that. And if you look at Kurt's suicide letter, there's different handwritings.
Yeah.
So, and the lawyer said that Kurt wanted a divorce. And I mean, there was reason for her to kill him. Like she would not get the money.
Yeah.
Because he wanted a divorce. And then I don't know, it was weird. Like her bandmate also died 6 months after Kurt with the same level of heroin in her system.
Don't say.
Yeah, so it's just interesting, like, and I guess there was like very suspicious behaviors even from like Kurt's best friend.
Yeah.
Like they never mentioned to the private investigator that there was a greenhouse at their house
Yeah.
until they found Kurt in the greenhouse.
Okay.
And Courtney, before she sold the house, knocked the greenhouse down.
Okay.
So I mean, like, I don't know. It's one thing that I firmly believe is that she had a hand
Oh, sure.
in his death, because even if you read his suicide note, it's not suicidal.
Yeah.
It's about him wanting to leave the music business
Yeah.
and not being happy in the music business, but like not
Yeah.
suicidal. And according to the private investigator, all of his therapists, which I mean, people can lie, so it's taken with a grain of salt. But like all of the therapists that he saw at rehab said he was not suicidal.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I don't think he
Who
killed
knows?
himself.
Who knows?
Because they were also saying there wasn't a lot of blood too, which if he shot himself in the head,
Yeah. Right.
there'd be a lot of
Yeah.
splatter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Crazy. It's also a similar. There's also a similar story about like the whole Marilyn Monroe death. With like,
Oh,
did she die, or was like, did someone from the government kill her because of her relationship with Kennedy?
I was gonna say, didn't they think it was something to do with Kennedy too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, did she actually kill herself? Or, of course, the government is going to want to make themselves look like the good guys, like they're not going to get exposed. So
Right.
they're just going to be like, hey, let's put a hit on Marilyn. Which, like, how could you honestly kill Marilyn Monroe? Like, seriously?
So do you think it's part of the government? Do you think like she was killed?
Obviously, we don't know for sure, but I'd totally not be surprised if the government killed her. Like, of course they would, right? Like, come on. It's like the whole like Jeffrey Epstein thing too, right? Like he did not kill himself. And apparently there was a point in prison right before he died when like the cameras weren't working. It's like, well, they were. Like you just hit stop.
Little suspicious.
That happened another time more recently where it's like this powerful guy. I don't even know who, but I guess he said if the government comes and kills me, I want to expose this information before they do. And then he ended up again committing suicide later.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I'm totally supportive of the fact that the government hides information and they kill people off that are a threat to them basically.
Oh, 1,000%.
And it's like Marilyn Monroe had a relationship with Kennedy, so it's like obviously she has a lot of information. So I would not be surprised.
And honestly, it could be the government with Epstein, but like he had so many people that he could throw under the bus that would want him killed.
I guess with Epstein, like I guess I just don't know the whole situation. Like, what did he know?
Okay. So, like, he had his island, right?
I guess I don't even really know anything about him.
Oh, okay. So Jeffrey Epstein basically ran a sex ring,
I guess I did hear something about that.
a sex trafficking
Okay.
ring. And so he would hire underage women, and then he had an island where is a lot of the trafficking was going on.
So he sounds like a stand-up guy.
Oh, he was. But so basically he had would his it's his island in like Caribbean or whatever. And Bill Clinton has been on that island 29 times.
Cool. Just hanging
So
out.
he has flight logs. So passengers who have been on that island.
Okay.
And he also will know like who was involved with the ring. Like
Right.
Prince Andrew is now in hot water because he hung out with Jeffrey Epstein and is
Okay.
being accused. So like if you are connected to Jeffrey and you were friends with him, like everyone is now like very suspicious and like
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to know, but like it he could blackmail a lot of people
Yeah.
to be like, and so like Clinton probably wanted him dead.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, but the flight log partially, I think partials of the flight log came out and he was on there 20 times.
Hey man, I didn't do nothing to nobody.
I mean, there's a really good I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but there was a really good Netflix documentary on him and everything he did, and it's disgusting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, and we know, I mean, there's pictures of Clinton on the island, so
Yeah.
Clinton's not getting away with this.
No.
Like, there's no way he can deny. You know what's funny though? Who was on the island was uh Kevin Costner,
Okay. That makes sense.
I think. But yeah. So there was a whole list of a bunch of celebrities that came off on the island that I don't know how true it is.
Yeah, right. So apparently, side note, you know the comedian John Mulaney, I showed you one of his specials. One of his other specials, he talked about how his parents went to school with Bill Clinton, and they weren't in the same year, but like they were there at the same time. And there was this campus policy, and I know you'll know where this is going, where late at night, when women would be coming from the library back home, they would obviously be in sketchy situations. So they would, for some reason, the college asked if guys would wait outside the library and escort them home to make sure that, nothing happened. And apparently, John Mulaney's mom went outside the library one night, and who was there but Bill Clinton? And apparently, he's just going off on like, "Hey, can I take you home? Hey, can I take you home?" And apparently, his mom walked out of the library one night, and he was like, "Hey, can I take you home?" And she said yes. And then he walked her home, and she said she wanted to bring him up with her, but I guess she said no. I guess she didn't make the offer because she was dating John's dad at the time.
What?
And I'm just like, it's just like, what if that had gone through like Bill Clinton?
Oh my God, could you imagine?
But just imagine like somebody that you went to school with, like high school, and they eventually became the president.
Oh my
That would be weird.
God. Right?
What if Caitlyn became the president?
And wouldn't that just be weird to be like, oh my God, I was friends with them.
And apparently, many years later, after that, when John was like a little kid, there was this, or yeah, it was right before Clinton's acceptance. He was going around to different states doing, his promotional stuff, his election tour, and they were going to John's and his family's town, and apparently his mom was like, "We have to go." So I guess his dad did not want to go because he was a Republican.
Uh,
So the mom took John as a young kid to this campaign rally, and he's like, and apparently she was like, "I have to see Bill. I have to see him." So she puts John in front of her and basically plows down all the reporters, all the journalists, all the Secret Service, and she puts John at Bill Clinton's feet. And she was like, "Hi, Bill." And of course, like this is years later, so he's not going to remember her, but he was like, "Hey, Ellen," because he never forgets a hoe ever.
oh my God.
Like, how crazy would that be? Like, you're just a little kid looking up at Bill Clinton, and apparently Bill Clinton went
Right?
looked down at his button, and it was
Oh my God.
it was Bill's competitor, like showing that his competitor was crazy. And Bill Clinton apparently reached down to little John and was like, "Hey man, I like your button." And I'd be like, how crazy would that be?
Right? Well, there was kind of a similar thing, but like I saw a TikTok and this of this girl, and she was like, listen to my grandma's story. And this girl had been in a library, and this guy was just staring at her
Yeah.
and staring at her, and then kept saying like, and then came over to talk to her, and she's like, and I just got this creepy feeling. And like, and so she's like, I got really scared because like he was basically like stalking me in a way.
Okay.
And she's like, well, and come to find out, it was Ted Bundy.
Oh, cool.
I was like, ah, how
Right.
creepy though. Like, just think of like how creepy, like, oh my God, that guy hit on me. And then I
Right.
see him like a week later for being a serial killer.
But like, didn't work out for you guys, so it's for the best.
Oh no, she was like, she said that she got so creeped out by just like him approaching her that like she had people walk her to her car because she was afraid he was like
Oh, I'm sure.
gonna follow her. Um, hold on though. I just was looking at something for Kurt Cobain,
Okay.
and new photos were released from the crime scene,
Ooh.
and it shows his gun. And it was literally this long.
Really?
I don't understand how a person could shoot themselves with a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Like, I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can show it to you.
Yeah.
I'll have to take it.
Oh yeah. For real.
Like, that even like, no.
Right.
No, I don't even know what kind of gun that is, but like,
Right. The guy in me is like, come on, why don't you know the type of gun that is? You should know that. That's elementary.
do you know what kind of gun that is?
No.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
I'm more knowledgeable about bows and arrows. Though.
Oh. Let's see. Okay. And it doesn't say what kind of gun it is either.
Yeah.
Apparently they're calling it a shotgun, but
it has a shotgun look to it, but I don't think that's what it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, so it's interesting. That was another thing about the case. Why these photos are just coming out now is because there were several rolls of film of the crime scene that they never developed.
Yeah.
Until 2014. So
Yeah.
a good 15 years later, like
right.
why wouldn't you develop those pictures?
Right.
That seems like pretty bad investigation.
Yeah.
So, and let me see if I can show you. It's like an interesting thing because just how it all. Oh, so this is how he left his paraphernalia. Apparently, after shooting up so much that like literally you'd be passed out.
Right.
Because you know how like that heroin nod that they call it, like where you're just like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I've done that so much myself.
Oh, I know, right? But look at, so he put it all nice.
Yeah. No. Come on, man.
That seems a little suspicious.
As the kids would say, sus.
Sus.
That's right. Hey kids, I'm cool. That's why that kid cried after I left, because she was like, he gets me.
Exactly.
He understands me.
Exactly.
And I'm like, you're crying. That's kind of sus. And she's like, yeah. You get it. That whole Kurt Cobain death is kind of sus.
I got you.
I got you. Yeah, yeah.
Everyone thinks I'm such a conspiracy theorist, and I'm like, he did not kill himself.
Right. There's one conspiracy theories is one thing. Knowing facts is another thing.
I mean, to me, this is all just straight facts.
Right.
Like,
that's like someone who believes the earth is flat. It's like, it's not flat and you're stupid.
so I'm saying.
Right.
And like, let me see if I can find it because I want to see what you think.
All righty.
All right. So, ew, why the hell is there a t-shirt with his suicide note on it? That's weird.
Right.
I'm trying to see. I guess you can kind of see it here, but like, do you see how like different the handwritings are? from like here
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
there.
Right. For real.
And this part right here,
Yeah.
where the handwriting change, is the only one that sounds suicidal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I don't know, man.
I don't know if I've convinced you, but
I mean, I was already convinced before you open your mouth, so there you go.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He
He was talented too. He was a talented singer. Like I loved like that kind of grunginess in his voice, you know?
it was like he did something that like I think is unique, where he like had that grunginess to his voice
Yeah.
where it sounded like he was screaming, but he also was singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was like he was actually singing, but it sounded more like
Yeah.
it's so weird. And that tone in his voice, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's underrated
Oh, for sure.
as a singer.
Yeah. So I will say, kind of on a side note, that a lot of people's Kurt Cobain is my Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Okay. Oh, I know that he was wrapped up in that cabal thing, and that's why people think he didn't really commit suicide.
Who? Kurt?
No,
Oh, Chester?
Chester.
Okay. Yeah. Although suicide for him is a little more believable, just talking about like, my gosh, some of the songs that he wrote, right?
I
Like,
agree.
like if you listen to Numb, like it kind of shows that he was depressed.
Yeah,
Kind of. And in the song like In the End as well, like it's kind of, it's like a rock theme, but the lyrics are kind of sad.
Yeah, I know there is a conspiracy theory about that, but to me,
Yeah.
I could see, and I know I could see because he was open about his depression too.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, like I love his voice as well.
Oh, I him and Chris Cornell had amazing voices.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even when he sang, like even when he was like kind of scream singing, like even that was like, I think that matched with the sad tone of Numb, for example. Like it just made you feel for real.
Him and Kurt had a very similar, like, I think Chester might have been a little bit better technically with the singing, but like him and Kurt had that very much of like the emotion behind their voice.
Yeah.
Like
When I listen to like Numb, I'm like, wait a minute, am I depressed?
yeah.
Like you're so infectious with your emotion.
Oh my God. It but then when you actually listen, like even if you didn't understand the words, you would
Right.
feel his emotion.
Yeah, his voice combined with the emotion, combined with the lyrics. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go listen to it now.
Oh my God. Well, but even the opening line, like, I'm tired of being what you want me to be.
Right.
It's like,
Like all I want to do is be more like me and less like you. Like what?
I know. I'm like, okay.
All right. You're depressed and you're not even hiding it. Like, and I think that's like one of, if not his most popular songs.
Oh my God. But it's, oh yeah. And well, I mean, even like that one line of like, what is it? Like, can't you see that you're smothering me?
Yeah. afraid to lose control. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I want to know who you're talking about so I can go beat him up.
Well, and
Or maybe is he talking to his depression? Maybe.
see, that's what I was thinking. Because
Yeah,
then he says, like, every step that I take is another mistake to you.
yeah,
Um,
I can see
I
that.
don't know. I know that line so well. Just it like it's a powerful line.
Yeah,
But like,
and if you're talking about depression and saying I want to be more like me and less like you, like, all right, I can see that.
mm-hmm. But am I like even the can't you see that you're smothering me? Like that could be
Right,
like holding on.
right.
Like depression can seem very smothering.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm looking at the lyrics now. Let's see.
Yeah.
You were just like me with somebody disappointed in you.
Mhm. Chester, why you gotta do me like that?
Right? So I think it's either depression or like parents living up to parents' expectations.
Maybe.
Either it's one of those two.
Yeah, for real.
But I know like him, there was a conspiracy with him, Chris Cornell, and Anthony Bourdain that like they all didn't commit suicide.
Yeah,
Um and it like yeah, that they all didn't commit suicide and it was all because I I I don't know. I can see where people can gain on the conspiracy theory. I just don't know if I'm fully like
right.
set in it because they were working on a child like to bring they were working on a documentary to bring awareness about child trafficking
Okay.
and
But at the same time, on a different note, is like, how are people unaware of child trafficking?
well see and that's the thing though and that's why people are saying it's because so there's this whole and there's you can't find it on YouTube but like you can find it on something else and I watched it and it's kind of interesting because especially with all the technology we have with this internet you think child trafficking especially through the internet would be just shut down
Like, just think about the movie Taken, right?
right and that was the whole point it's called the fall of the cabal and so this whole thing is that why child trafficking isn't being stopped like it should be is
Right,
because a lot of the higher ups in government, even in entertainment, are all part of that ring.
oh, for sure.
They're all part of the sex trafficking ring. They're all doing it. So they don't want it to stop.
Yeah,
And so when Chester and Chris Cornell and Anthony Bourdain were all making this documentary on it, wait, I don't think Anthony Bourdain was part of the documentary, but I think he was like outspoken about it.
yeah,
Well, they wanted to shut him up.
right,
So it's like, all right, I can see that, but I don't know if I believe in it.
right.
Like, I don't know if that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
But because you're right, how is sex trafficking still a thing, especially with children? Like, we have so much technology.
like, let's let's not send Jeffrey Bezos to the outer space for 5 minutes and spend that money stopping child trafficking. Like, is that not an obvious choice? And
Exactly.
if you're not in support of stopping that, then you're no better than them.
Exactly.
Or if you're turning a blind eye to it all, like a lot of people turned a blind eye to Nazi Germany as well. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing of like how, I don't know, like
I don't know, man.
how you can get people to really like just change their mindset where like literally Nazi Germany was a thing.
Right.
So, I mean, but I don't know, man.
How are people into that too? Like that's messed up.
Into what? Oh, like Nazi Germany?
No, like sex trafficking and like getting an underage kid. Like if you're into that, like that's messed up. Like I remember the joke that Daniel Sloss made about it's like I don't I don't like kids. And do you know why? It's because it's a freaking kid. And,
Right.
and the whole thing was like parents don't agree with Lady Gaga dressing like that because the kids look up to them and they're gonna want to dress like them. And then creepy guys are gonna look at the kids dressed like that and be tempted. And it's like, first of all, I'm not gonna become a child predator because a kid is dressed a certain way.
Well, no.
And
A
that's
child predator is going to be a child predator no matter
right.
what the kid is doing.
Like it could be a nun and a child predator is like, hey there.
Oh, for sure. For sure. 100%.
Anyway,
I don't.
that's a tangent. That's what that was.
Well, some people think it's a conspiracy theory though that like
Yeah.
Hollywood is even part of that like thing, but they are.
Right.
I mean,
Crazy.
not clearly not everyone in Hollywood, but like
Right. Julian Huff would never. Zac Efron would never.
no, not Zachary.
He seems like he is too good of a guy to even come close to getting involved with that. Like he seems like way too chill and cool.
He just seems like well, and I mean, Julianne, I feel like would be like the one person that I'd be like, if she even got a hint of it, she'd be like,
Right. Dude, she's too busy dancing. She's too busy with her boyfriend. Me.
You.
That's right.
But all right. Well, do you have another conspiracy theory?
I do, but might have to be, I don't know, a part two or because our conspiracy theories have been long.
Well, they're interesting.
They are. So I don't know. We might have to do a part two.
Hey, that works for me.
Yeah.
The second one, I don't know. Second one, I was going to talk about, I don't know too much, so I could even do more research on that.
Yeah, for sure. For real.
Full show. What were we saying earlier that we were going to have to wait to talk about the podcast? Where you were like, we're going to have to save that for the podcast.
Oh, I think just talking about conspiracy theories in general.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, moral of the story, don't be a child predator.
That should not need to
Dude,
be said, but
serious.
don't.
How did all of our conversations lead that way?
I don't know.
Like sex trafficking, Michael Jackson talking about my last day with as a student teacher. Like, what's going on?
I don't know, because even like Kurt Cobain had nothing to do with kids, and we still somehow.
Right? Well, we got on the track of Chester Bennington and the documentary and all that stuff.
Well, that's a conspiracy theory.
There you go.
That's an interesting one. For show.
Michelle.
It's kind of a crazy one, but
Yeah.
when I kind of,
For real.
hopefully when we do the next conspiracy theory, it won't be all about child predators.
There you go. Be nice and heated.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, I guess that's about it for this one.
Yeah,
For real.
we don't want to go
Yeah.
too long.
Right. All right. But I guess we will see you guys next time, maybe next week. And it'll be good.
Have a good week.
All right. See y'all soon.
Bye.